Hi, I'm Reverend Paula Skiles of the Unity Church of San Marcos, and it's good to see everyone here today. I was wondering if you would do something. Imagine with me you see someone taking a stroll in a busy park. Okay, so just use your imagination for a moment. And that person is walking along through the paths, and there's some brush, and they look down and you see them pick up what appears to be an oil lamp of some kind. They're brushing it off, and all of a sudden a genie appears. Well, and then the genie says to the person, well, apologetically of course, after millennia of wear and tear and disbelief, I can only grant one wish, and it can only be one of three options. The first is to be the most beautiful person in the world. The second is to be the richest person in the world. The third is to have cosmic wisdom and the ability to answer any question. Well, after thinking about it a moment, the person responds that they would like to have cosmic wisdom. And in that moment, the genie vanishes, and their face takes on this beatific sense of, oh gosh, serenity and peace that is worthy of the Buddha, okay? The entire affair is watched or viewed by a number of astonished onlookers, ourselves included, right? And so after a moment, someone from the crowd says, well, say something wise. Well, the person sits down, unfazed, and raises their right hand and intones very seriously, I should have taken the money. So, how many times in the past have you or I know I've done this, wished what could have been different in our lives? Doesn't matter what your what is, but something we wished, okay? In the Past is the title to this message, and it's about helping you and me to stop living our lives in the past. Okay. So stop living in the past means embracing your next page by understanding yourself better and preparing yourself so that you're equipped to live life enjoying the present. But sometimes we may not realize we've actually been living in the past. Here are some signs. Do you lack a sense of purpose and motivation? Are you constantly telling stories about maybe your career, now that it's over, or are you constantly reflecting back on something that occurred? And maybe even having to share and talk about that. Do you not know how to make a daily goal or to have any dreams? Do you have any dreams? And if you don't, that's one of the signs. If you aren't able to even plan for today, let alone for tomorrow, okay? Your relationships with people tend to be generally superficial. You're sure that you're never going to reach whatever your dreams were, and you feel kind of stuck. What about if you are unknowingly clinging to whatever it was you did? Maybe you had a career that was something interesting or whatever, and that's over, or has changed, or things aren't the way that you want them to be. Maybe you sit and daydream, this, that, wishing, hoping. Some of us, we spend a lot of time feeling sorry for ourselves, asking, why can't things be like they were? So Tony Robbins is an author, a coach, and a speaker, and he's known for his seminars and self-help. His self-help books, And he said, many of us get stuck in the past because of our need for certainty. He said, certainty is one of the 6 human needs and is fundamentally about survival. We need to feel certain that we can avoid pain and ideally find some comfort in our lives. We also like to feel certain about what's next. And letting go of the past means stepping into the unknown. It takes faith and courage to let go of what is familiar, even if it's something that's not very positive, and be vulnerable enough to learn how to let go of past mistakes or hurts or good, and now be living in the present. You might wonder, well, what is it really costing me? What's the big deal if I do that? Well, let me ask you this. What happens when we focus on what was, or how good everything was in the good old days, or what our lives could be like had such and such not happened, and things like that? How we should have acted, or how we did act, or if only such and such had never happened, who would I be and what could I have accomplished? Those kind of thoughts. Our feelings follow our thoughts. And in this instance, they can become depression. They can become anger and bitterness or resentment. Perhaps you've had things that you are very grateful over. And as you reflect on them and thinking about, why can't I have that sense of good constantly? And then that sense of gratitude wanes and becomes melancholy. And it leads us into a circle, but it's not a circle of light, let me tell you. From Ephesians 4:29-31, it speaks to this kind of a situation, even though you may not think so. Just think about it. Let no evil talk come out of your mouth, but only what is useful for building up, as there is need, so that your words may give grace to those who hear. Put away from you all bitterness and wrath and anger and wrangling and slander, together with all malice, and be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as Christ has forgiven you. Therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children and live in love. Okay, consider this. Every time you and I replay our own or someone else's sin, now, sin is missing the mark, okay? And evil basically just means that which causes suffering. So if we're saying, yes, I can get angry, I can get frustrated at times, but that's not what this is about. This is about living in that state where we're not feeling as if we have any power to do anything in our life. We're simply existing. Practicing the presence of love and forgiveness and peace and joy, practicing that presence allows you and I to redirect our thoughts into a focus for good. The presence of spirit is unconditional love, right? It's joy, it's peace, it's power, it's grace, it's all those things coming in and as us, through us. You can be who you came here to be and do what you came here to do, regardless of your past, regardless of what age you are. You can turn it on a dime in a moment. That doesn't require money. It doesn't require status. It doesn't require position or benefits of certain kinds of health. Hear this, your present can be equal to or greater than the good old days. Let me offer some specific ideas to bring us forward. Condition your mind to practice the presence. It's important to remind yourself to live in the moment. When you and I begin to dwell on the past constantly, you can help yourself by pointing out things that are in your surroundings. Simply saying, right now I am, and then just say, walking in the forest, or walking down the street, or I am driving and I'm seeing the scenery, or whatever you're doing, just right now, and connect to what you are doing, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing. You could say, I am really feeling fairly good right now, or whatever it is, but just connect to it. And do that often throughout a day. It'll help you keep in the present and not dwell on the past as much. Another way to practice the presence is to reflect on who you are now, in order to understand how everything that happened in the past has brought you to who you are now, and determine if who you are now is who you came here to be. And if it is, make peace with that. Forgive yourself for thinking you weren't. And if it's not, then determine what it is that you can do to create a discipline of changing your inner talk, your inner image of yourself, and your inner sense of yourself to one that is strong, loving, capable. When we use that Bible verse that says, let no evil talk come forth, hey, let me tell you, that's not just talking about cussing. That is not talking about cussing. It is something much deeper. And it is, evil means that which causes suffering, our own included. So determining if that is who you came here to be and to do, you can do that. You can bounce back from anything, and let yourself believe that you can bounce back from anything. Our beliefs create our world, and what we speak, tell ourselves and others comes from our beliefs. So examining our beliefs and doing that reflection is essential to getting out of the past. Practicing the present moment helps us as we reduce overthinking and the negative ruminations. We can breathe deeply. We can do grounding exercises, maybe go outside, take a walk, or work in the garden. Some of us have plants that are really calling us. Creating affirmations and denials and practicing gratitude. These are all the ways to live in the present moment. Starting a gratitude journal. Many times, that is a good way to get into understanding who we are and what we're about. Because it can bring us a perspective about where we are and who we are as we learn to let go of the past. Embrace your next page and stage in life. Now that seems like an easy statement, but it's not always easy, especially as those of us who are getting a little older. All right? We keep holding on to when I was, or when I had, or back when. So I invite you to affirm to yourself, I'm not over the hill, and I still have something that I need to climb. If there is that sense in you that's responding to this message, understand there is something in you still you need to climb. That hill, whatever it is waiting for you. Let that be when you embrace that next stage or page of your life, that it's something you want to live. For those of us who are older, we can do that. We actually have more time now to focus. Remember when we were young and all we focused on is what we're going to do? Okay, well, we're going to go step back into that. Doing something. So we're not going to waste any more time or energy in the past. What would it be like to be eagerly planning for the next stage of your life? There's some self-discipline that's going to be called, so that'll be part of it. Practicing mindfulness. We all know that meditation helps us to focus on the present moment because it helps us to let go of all thinking and different things and be present. One of the other things you can do is to create empowering rituals. Now, I personally think that a priming ritual, like starting the day, priming your day. You know, everybody would remember what priming the pump means. Okay, so prime rituals is about letting go of the past by embracing a way of getting up or the way you start your day, whether it's in the evening or whatever time you get up and ready to go. And it's about taking the time and disciplining yourself to let go of suffering and just focus on something good you want to have or know and experience or give or share in this day that's coming up. Whether you do it through prayer, meditation, visualization, reading a good affirmative book or study book like our daily word, or whether you intentionally sit down and visualize, whatever it is, discipline yourself to do that every day without fail. One of the things I personally love to do is to go over my dreams before I even move out of bed, to see what I'm being given in understanding through spirit. Because I know dreams many times will tell us where we really are. So that's what I'm going to suggest. Maybe you decide to eat a little more healthy. Maybe you've got to set a goal for exercising. Hello. Because when you recognize that there is energy that you need, what is going to fuel that? It takes a good amount of energy to break through patterns and habits and ways of life that we may have stepped into or just settled into. And the fuel needs to be enough on all those levels, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. We need that fuel. The third thing I suggest is practice self-compassion. Make new memories. Plan something for enjoyment for yourself. Something that excites you. Set some goals that excite you. Focus on the present and what it has to offer and what you can do instead of dwelling on the past. Maybe you want to just jot those thoughts down. Keep a little booklet with you and jot them down. Break them down into actionable steps. Go further than just writing those thoughts down. Spend some time. That could become part of your morning ritual. Focusing on your successes. Focusing on your successes. I invite you to challenge all the negative thoughts by focusing on successes and forgiveness. It's important to recognize our feelings because when we reflect on what we're holding on to, it's important to note why we need to move on. What exactly is it? Is it a failed relationship? Is it abuse of some kind from years ago in our childhood or something we just can't get over? Do you need to forgive someone, either in person or in your heart? Do you need to forgive yourself? Forgiveness is a part that is essential to challenging that way of life that we've sunk into, if it is in the past, living in the past. Because every day is a chance to start over. And forgiveness gives us that opportunity. It opens that door for us. Learning to celebrate other people's successes. That's a part of being compassionate to ourselves and challenging negative thoughts. Learning to celebrate when someone else is having something powerful and wonderful or good, or that they've accomplished. Learning to do that, that's a part of getting out of the past. So finally, I would like to share one last thought, really. It's important that we serve something greater than ourselves. The motive matters. So finding something that calls to us, that speaks to our hearts, and quickens our sense of joy or love or peace or something like that. When we give back, we find that the secret to living is giving. In this, you and I are able to practice the presence because Spirit is all about giving. But our lives are not just about getting. It is a circle, giving and receiving. Those are important steps in learning how to let go, because focusing on the needs of others is empowering us, and it helps us to go and see what we can do that just seemed impossible. These are the most important steps that will begin to help you to stop living in the past. And so discipline is a part of it. Find a way to make it enjoyable. Find something that you can do, whether it's the discipline of sitting down and reading a wonderful story, short story, something that's uplifting. There's a number of self-help books. Finding something that is enjoyable. Finding a way that you can create within yourself something that's joyful. Maybe you make something with some fruit and you sit down and you let yourself take a walk joyfully in your mind, enjoying some fruit. Whatever it is, find a way to make some discipline for yourself that is enjoyable so that you can embrace every moment and plan on it. While you're making those goals, if it's not something that in that planning, if it's not something that excites you, keep staying in the presence because you're not through yet. Because when Spirit has something that excites you, that's when your plans need to take steps. But until then, don't let go of planning. Living in the past doesn't make you or me a bad person. It doesn't make you wrong in how you live your life. It is about not having the fullness of life. And I have a full life, but I admit I have lived in the past quite a number of years. But regardless of our age or conditions, I believe you can do what needs to be done. There is within us the capacity to choose, the capacity to make a different choice in every moment. I hope you stop living in the past and let your joy and your life recognize it's not over yet. Let your heart know. Let your heart know. My life is not over yet. God bless you, and thank you for being with me.